Okay, it looks like we are going. Haha. Okay. Let me just finish sending this tweet. Or so. Right there. Okay. Oh, fuck. I'm about to resend that because I didn't. Love when you do that. I'm just going to leave it. I'm not actually going to retweet. Okay. So far, it's just me hanging out here. That is fine. I said that I would be reading Queen of Air and Darkness. Is Twitter worth it? Heard it's super drama heavy. I personally haven't ever gotten into any Twitter drama. I mean, it really depends on who you follow. Like I guess technically I follow like 200 people, but I'm never in. I don't like. I hardly ever see the Twitter drama. I see like fallout of Twitter drama. So I think it's worth it. I think that it helped my channel grow to where it is today. It helped me solidify some friendships. So I recommend being on book Twitter. But you can always unfollow people. You can always block people. You can always mute people. Like, it's too much drama for you. Like, you don't have to interact with it, you know? And if it's too much, then you go and you read or you go watch a nice little TV show. So that's my take on the Twitter drama because it hasn't ever really affected me. So that's what I have to say. So I'm going to be reading Queen of Air and Darkness today. I thought we would do like 3 20-minute sprints because I feel like 20 minutes is a solid amount of reading time, and being around for an hour with some chatting in between just felt like something I could handle. Host, I don't really know. Like I said, this has not been a thought out discussion. This has not been a thought out process. So anything is possible. Okay. So not seeing any more comments coming in. So I'm just going to switch over to the timer so we can all start at the same time. I have my book ready. I was just waving it around. So I'm going to go ahead and mute myself, and we're going to read for a good 20 minutes, and then we can come back and talk for a little bit, and then we'll do another sprint. So I'll see you guys in the 20 minutes. unmute. Hello, Sky. Sorry, I think some people joined. I don't really know. I was trying to actually do some reading, and I managed to get 38 pages, so I'm pretty happy with that. The story is still going really slowly, so I hope that the plot of whatever you're reading, actually, I think that'd be great. Now that there's 4 of you in here, I would love to know what you guys are reading today, because you all know what I'm reading. So I think that would just be fair. So let's all wait and see if some comments start rolling in. Some Oran High School Host Club. We can show that. I've never read that one, but I've heard decent things. Maybe at some point I'll get to it. And we have some A Curse of Dark and Lonely. I think I checked this out from the library a couple of times last year, and I never got around to it. I know the sequel comes out in like a week, so I feel like now would be a quality time to get to it. But I'm also fairly certain that it's probably checked out at my library. And as you can see, this isn't even the library copy that I have checked out, because I felt that listening to an audiobook on the reading stream would be a little silly. But I have like a mountain of library books. I don't need to go back and get A Curse of Dark and Lonely. I don't know. I'm also just like very skeptical of Beauty and the Beast retellings. I feel maybe that's just me. I don't quite know, but I don't want to say that I'm over them, because I'm sure that they can add something, but that one just, I don't know. Maybe someday in the future I will come around and read it, but as for right now, I don't really have any plans to get to that anytime soon. But I hope that it's good. It's a lot shorter than what I'm reading. Let's see here. I've read A Queen of Air and Darkness. Wasn't a big fan of it, but I'll read literally anything by Cassandra Clare. At this point, I'm right there with you. Like, I'm not a huge fan of this. And I think I'm not a huge fan because after the Mortal Instruments, I was like, I'm ready for some world-ending behavior, you know? Like, we dealt with like 2 quasi world-endangering characters. I want to, like, you know, this isn't in the past anymore. You can have some big things happen. And I feel like the through line of this trilogy is just not on that level, and so it's falling flat for me. I think that's my big disappointment. I can see how Cassandra Clare has like grown as an author from her first series, The Mortal Instruments, but for me, The Mortal Instruments are still the best thing that she's ever written. Like, I don't think that she really ever has done better than that. Like, maybe that's just, I feel like I'm alone there, because I know everyone really likes The Infernal Devices, but for me, that was by far and away the weakest. Definitely weaker than The Mortal Instruments, and even though I'm not a huge fan of The Dark Artifices, I think that it's weaker there too. But at this point, I'm just getting through it so I can get to Chain of Gold. I know that technically I've read everything I need to have read to understand that story, but it don't matter. Let's see here. Yeah, it comes out on Tuesday. Okay, so my bad. A little off there. It comes out on Tuesday. I have no thoughts on Beauty and the Beast retellings yet because I haven't read that many that I know of. To be fair, I also have not read that many, but I feel like, what have I actually even read a Beauty and the Beast retelling? Am I over here just judging things that I haven't read? Maybe I am. Maybe I am. Maybe I just don't like Beauty and the Beast, and that's why I don't want to see it retold anymore, because I feel like the original isn't that great, so what are you doing? What are you doing with this particular fairy tale? I'd have to go through my Goodreads. That's a very good point. I don't think I've actually read that many. I think I've just seen a lot of them, and none of them really sound even like Beauty and the Beast. Because I feel like this is my problem with the retelling. In the synopsis that I've always heard, right? The Belle character is always like kidnapped from her situation. And like while in the original tale or like the Disney version of the tale, if you want to look at that, like sure she is coerced into joining the Beast because she doesn't want her father to be there, but it's still like an active choice that she makes. And so if she's like tricked or kidnapped or taken to like be with this crazy man, I feel like that's just not the story that I'm interested in, because then it is kind of creepy. I mean, it's still a little creepy, and it's still like a little unfair to like the Beast character. Maybe that's what I want. I want to Beauty and the Beast from the point of view of the Beast. I don't know if that exists in the universe. I'm not gonna go looking for it, but I feel like that might be a little bit more interesting. Or one where she also has an active choice, because I feel like that's the part that is absent. Let's get some water. I think that's what I want. I want less summaries of the Belle character getting kidnapped and more summaries of her like, okay, I don't really want to do this, but I care about this person, so I'll stay instead. I think that's the dynamic that I want, because then I think it's easier to follow, like to believe the love story aspect of it. Because if she's kidnapped and then she's like, "Yes, I love you," like what? No, thank you. Don't need that in my life. Okay, so I think we've talked for like a good 5 minutes, so we can go back and do another sprint. Hello to the 2 people who just joined. Hopefully your reading day is going well. If not, we're about to do another sprint. I personally thought the 20 minutes was fun. Oh, what's here? That is valid, because for some reason, love to retell it. Curse is a kidnap story, but it's also partially in his point of view. Okay. If it's partial, I might have to check it out. Not this month, probably not even next month. But if we do get portions of like the Beast character's perspective, then I feel like I could overlook the kidnap story. Maybe. Anyway, what I was saying before I saw this comment come in was I liked the 20 minutes. I thought that was a decent chunk of time, and it wasn't too long for us to be reading. So if you guys are ready for another 20-minute sprint, I'm ready to do another 20-minute sprint. But if you guys want to chat some more, let me know. Like this is a community event here. While I wait for that, I think I'm going to update my Goodreads because I like doing that. It's like my favorite thing about the Goodreads app is getting to update my book progress. It makes me feel good. My books. Scroll over, update progress. I'm on page 218. Okay. So I have one let's do it, and that's enough for me. So we're going to hop back over to the timer, and I'm going to close my water bottle. And I will see you all in 20 minutes. My bad. 12 out of 10 did not realize that the timer had stopped, but I'm just going to take a second and finish the page I'm on because I'm going to be at the end of the chapter. So... Okay. So I hope everyone had a nice little sprint. I managed to read another roughly 40 pages. So I am not complaining at all. I will say that was not expecting there to be quite as much like let's just have sex all the time in this book. Part of me appreciates the character moments, but part of me is also like, can we just maybe not? Can we get to the action perhaps? Okay. Okay, good night. Okay. Goodbye. Do. Okay. So, how is the reading of the chat going? What happened in your last sprint? Let's discuss what's going on. I think there's a couple of other people hanging out with us now. I don't know. But if you are, hello, welcome. Hopefully, you also had a good little sprint going. I feel like I just chose the wrong book to do for this first sprint, this first live show, because I don't want to talk about it because it's like the third book in a series, and it's a series that's like, what is that at this point? The 12th book in, if you're reading all of them. So I don't want to just like voice all of my grievances because I don't want to potentially spoil some people. I know that I'm really late getting to this one, but I also imagine there are people like me who've been waiting a while and they haven't gotten to it yet. So the next time I do this, I will not be reading the third book in a series, I think for sure. So okay, maybe you guys also are just too engrossed in your reading. Okay, let's see here. Well, we have you finished something, so congratulations to you because I I have not finished anything. I finished a chapter. I'm now on chapter 13, I think. Is that what that said? I wasn't really paying attention to the number. Let's find out together. Yes, I'm about to start chapter 13, which is titled Babylon, for those who are curious. So congratulations to you for finishing something. Would not be on brand if I didn't drop something. And then you've only read the first 2 books in the series, so I really don't. Now that I know someone is here who's invested in it and hasn't finished it, I don't want to say anything that could ruin it for you. So I won't. I'm not going to be that person. Not here on this in this situation. But I think I'm enjoying it now that I know what it is. Like, I can enjoy it for what it is, but I don't think that's really going to improve when I go give it a star rating on Goodreads later. I don't think it's going to detract from it. Like I understand what the story is, but it's not making me. I don't know. But this is also, like I've already said, it's my least favorite trilogy in this world, so I don't really think there was a lot this book. Okay, well, my bad. I mean, I guess what I say that I'm invested in the series, I think that I am. I'm at least monetarily invested because I bought all of them. I was at least smart enough to get these first two this was the library sale, so it was like 50 cents for both of them. But at least monetarily, I invested in the rest of the series, and I did read 11 other books to get to this point. So I feel like I can't say that I'm not invested. Like, that feels like a lie to me. But I'm happy that you've managed to read these books and not be invested. I am going to pick this up now because it's starting to bother me that it's still down there. So 1 second. Okay. Up you go, Miss. There we go. Okay. So how far did you get into? How much more progress did you make on A Curse of Dark and Lonely? I'm very curious. Is it getting better for you? You were 25 pages in. Where are you now? I sold. Okay, I mean that is fair. That's fair. To Cassandra Clare's credit, she has said that she's only writing 6 more books in this world. I don't know if I believe that personally. She says there's just 2 more series out there, The Wicked Powers and The Last Hours, which I don't like how they rhyme, but that's just me. So I feel like it's going to end soon. It'll just have run for like 30 years by the time that it's over, which shout out to her for making that work. I mean, congratulations. I don't remember where, was it on Goodreads? There was somewhere where I found that she was writing a book outside of this world that wasn't in like the magisterium, like middle grade she writes with Holly Black. But I'm very curious to see her write a story not in this world that is also like a young adult place. Okay, Emily, yes, I understand. Only 6 more books is still like a good 9,000 pages for Miss Cassandra Clare. But I feel like in the grand scheme of things, it's not too bad. Like, Rick Riordan is out here, and if you just read his, books, he has 15 just in the Percy Jackson books, because Heroes of Olympus, Percy Jackson, Trials of Apollo are all set in the Percy world. And then Magnus Chase is also set in that world. So that's 18. And then I think the Kane Chronicles, like, there are issues where the Kane siblings have like interacted with Percy and company. I don't know if they're also there. So that's 21 books, and that's middle grade, and that's 21 books in a far shorter amount of time. So I mean, I could drag Cassandra Clare. I know that past Monty has spent a lot of time dragging Cassandra Clare, but that's roughly about the same number. His books are just shorter because they're middle grade. Only 6 books, my lord. This is a slow reader. 10 pages is still progress, though. So, I mean, I would be happy. I'm happy with any amount of progress. That's why I really like updating Goodreads, because I like seeing the bar move. It's like my favorite feature of Goodreads. So I would say that's really great. So shout out to you for those 10 pages. I'm not gonna lie, I'm trash for Cassandra Clare, but I can see what people are getting over there. I feel like there's a part of me, like much like Christine over at Poland Banana Books, I read the first book, City of Bones, when it came out. So like I understood. Like, I was there before it blew up into a movie and a TV show, and everyone on BookTube was making it their favorite book. I really appreciated the story. There's a small sense of nostalgia for me, so I think that's also plays into why I like The Mortal Instruments more than the other books. But I mean, like I was just saying about Rick Riordan, that's like he has 21 books in the same world, and no one is coming for him. So I mean, she's not turning out books the way that James Patterson does, at least, so I can respect that. I have heard some very questionable things about James Patterson recently. He's not really an author that I am that interested in. Um, at the end of 2019, I set out that I wanted to read more like men's action adventure novels, and I feel like James Patterson has some books in that genre. But then I kept coming across article after article about how he doesn't even write the books. He just like has credit on a lot of these, and like good for him. Like he's made that into a career. But I've just heard too many questionable things. I think this was also about James Patterson, and the only thing I read by him was Maximum Ride, like millions of years ago. I don't think it was the first book in that series, and I have no opinions. I have one of his Presents books on my shelf. I have Swipe Right for Murder by Derek Millman. So I'm sure it's just like the Rick Riordan Presents, where he has like a foreword or something. But I haven't. There's nothing to do with him. That's true. I've only read one of his books, but I probably wouldn't buy them for the same reason as Cassie's book. I'm assuming this is also about James Patterson, and I have no plans. Everyone's talking about James Patterson's, and everyone has only read one of his books, and no one is a fan. So, yeah. So no one is a fan of James Patterson. Sorry for him, but again, he is out here taking up whole shelves in libraries and putting out books like every month. So I'm never going to read his books. At least I know Cassandra Clare is writing her books. I think that's the reason I won't ever read the anthologies, though. Like Cassandra Clare's anthologies, I don't plan on ever reading. So like Ghost of the Shadow Market, Tales from the Shadow Academy, the Magnus Bane Chronicles. I think just because I know that there are 4 other authors in those works, it just feels a little bit like fan fiction to me. And I can appreciate that. I appreciate fan fiction, and I get most of my books from the library anyway, so it's not like I'm paying for it. But I'm just like, I don't understand why we have 4 authors working on canonical material in your world. The only reason I let it slide with the spin-off series over here, The Red Scrolls of Magic, is Wesley Chu is actually an Asian author. I think he is Chinese. He's East Asian. And Magnus Bane is South Asian, so it's not entirely own voices, but it's better than this white woman who's been writing him for like 3 decades. So I will at some point read that one, but the rest of her collections where other authors have contributed, I don't really plan on picking those up. I feel kind of bad hating on authors that take so much work to write a book. I think that is valid. I think that I can appreciate they spend a lot of time working on a book, writing a book, because I never will. That's not something that I ever aspire to. I watch a lot of AuthorTube content. That's where this idea came from watching AuthorTube, where they sit down and write their books or outline their books or do whatever they need to do. So I very much understand the process and the effort, and it's certainly not something that, like I said, I could ever do. But also, like at some point, this was not your calling, maybe, and I appreciate all this effort that you put into it. But I feel like it might be in your best interest to redirect that effort elsewhere, at least for me personally. Like I said, I'm never going to read a James Patterson book, but there are hundreds of people in this world, thousands of people in this world who obviously disagree with me, because he wouldn't continue to have a thriving career if people weren't purchasing his work, reading his work. He would have fizzled out, you know. Cassandra Clare, same thing. Like, I have issues with the Dark Artifices. I can see how people enjoy it in a way that I personally don't. And again, she would have fizzled out a long time ago if people didn't care to read the book she was putting out, you know? Also, if Sherilyn Kenyon was successful with that lawsuit she was bringing, maybe the Shadowhunters would be no more. But that ain't got nothing to do with me, so I don't have to think about it too much. So, like I said, I appreciate the work that they put in. I know that I can never do it. But I think that just because you put in the work, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to talk negatively about it. Like, lots of people work really hard to make movies, and that stopped exactly 0 people from tearing down cats. Okay, so if no one has anything else to say, I think we can move into our final sprint of the day. I've been live for like an hour, so we've read for a good 40 minutes of that. So I think 20 minutes chatting, that's pretty good. So I'll give it a couple more minutes for comments to come in. And then if everyone is ready to do another 20-minute sprint, then we'll do our final sprint of the day. Man, appreciate the love. Man, I'm still excited to watch Cats though. I mean, more power to you. More, I'm not gonna pay money to see Cats. If Cats were ever to show up on like a Netflix or a Hulu, then I probably would. But outside of that, like I'm sorry, I don't want to pay to be traumatized, in a movie theater where I feel like I have to stay in or I've wasted the money. Um, so I would like to watch it in the comfort of my own home on a streaming platform that I already paid for. Um, so I don't feel bad if I just cut it off in the middle and like, you know what, never mind. This is a bad idea. I think this is a great idea too. So thank you. Thank you for that. I'm enjoying it. I wasn't going to do these every weekend, but I'm pretty sure I will be doing another sprint next weekend. Probably on Saturday, not a Sunday thing. I don't know. I'll tweet about it. But I'm currently working through Queen of Air and Darkness. My goal is to finish it so I can get to this mountain of library books that I haven't touched. So that's my goal, is to get through this so I can yeah, that's what I'm on page 250 something now, I think. 260. I got to page 260 during this break. I was on page 180. So we're doing really, I'm getting a lot in. So I'm enjoying it. So yeah. And then that's valid. If you want to pay to see Taylor Swift, who am I to stop you from paying to see Taylor Swift? Wouldn't be me. I'm happy that you guys you could do that. So, okay, I'm not seeing anyone saying that they don't want to start the sprint, and I kind of want to get back to some reading. So we'll do another 20-minute sprint, and then we can chat for a little bit after. But this is probably going to be the last reading sprint because an hour of reading, I think, a day is perfect for me. I've already gotten more reading in today than I did yesterday, so let's hop back over to the timer. Go away. Let's set this over here. Okay. So we are going to mute this and we're Okay. Hello. Guys, how was everyone's reading? I'm now on page 306. Things are starting to pick up in terms of pacing, and I'm really appreciating it. I hope that, whatever you were doing was doing well. I'm looking forward to hearing some updates in the chat. I guess I can actually just get rid of this window altogether because I don't really need it anymore. So. There's my water. Oh, third. Okay, so we have one that read about 60 pages. I did not. I think, what was that? Like another. It was on one page 180. It's like around 40-ish. So, like, I'm happy with what I read. So that's good. You read 60 pages. But you also already finished what you were reading before. So that's like major progress for you. And then 13 pages. So congratulations. That's more than 10. So we are really moving up. Hopefully it's good. Emily read 16 pages. What are you reading, Emily? Did you tell us before and I just missed it? Because I don't know what you're reading. But I'm happy that everyone made some progress. We are further along in our books than we were when we started this 20-minute journey together. Okay. So this is weird because I want to talk about what I just read because I read almost 200 pages with you guys during the stream, which is kind of crazy. But I like it's the third book in the series, so I don't want to spoil anything. Things are finally picking up in terms of like the pacing, but other plot lines, I'm still like, can we not do this? I've never heard of this book. So Undone by Wally Lamb. So it's backlist title. He read it 7 years ago, but I've never heard of it. So I hope it holds up for you. I've never. I don't know what that is. So hello to you who just joined. We just finished our last sprint. So sorry, but we're just gonna chat for a little bit, and you can always you can go back and watch it when it processes, and you can have this experience all over again. I said this, and again, I think I'll do it Saturday at noon Pacific time and not on Sunday. I'm not gonna make these an every weekend thing. I don't want that pressure, but I really had a great time, and it motivated me to read on a day that I don't typically read. I don't, so I'm really, really happy about that. As for this one, yes, I am very proud that it is going to be your next read. Although, like, I'm still very nervous anytime someone picks up Permanent Record because I loved it so much. Like, and I know that there are people out there who have read it after I went so hard on it that didn't appreciate it as much as I did. And I'm just kind of like, I feel a little guilty because it's like, I like to think that people pick up books for more than just like, I went really hard for it. But there's part of me that's like, oh, you didn't like it and I went really hard for it. And I just wasted like 5 hours of your time while you were reading that book, and you're never gonna get those 5 hours back. I don't know. It's a weird position to be in. Also, I see this one. I'm looking forward to this Goodreads page because I've never heard of it. I don't think I'm ever going to pick it up, but I guess you never know. Like, you never know. It could be included in one of these massive library hauls that I'm just never going to get to. It's just, I don't know. I'm hoping that after Queen of Air and Darkness, I will be able to get through more than just the graphic novels I picked up, because so far this month I've read 5 graphic novels. So it's like 600 pages of content, which is a lot of pages in 5 days. So, I mean, and that was all in like the first 2 days. So it was a lot of pages, but I checked out way more novels, and I would like to be able to get to those. So I'm hoping that after this one, I'll be able to pick up some of them. I haven't decided what the next one is going to be. I'm thinking it might be a contemporary read, because this is a 900 pages. There's like a short story collection at the end of it. Like there's like a little quick short story. The book is only 880 pages, and it kind of bothers me that Goodreads lists it as 913 pages, because I don't think I've ever read a single one of the short stories at the back of these things. So, what kind of books do I look for at the library? That is a very good question. So usually when I go to the library, for a couple of months, I was doing really well at only picking up books that I had on hold. So I would research the ones that I kind of had interest in. I would put them on hold, just pick them up that way. Usually what happens when I walk in and I walk out with, like, I think there's 34 books over here after I return some. Actually, I could just log into the library and see how many books I've checked out. Why am I guessing? But when I walk out with a massive thing like this, it's usually titles that I've heard of, vaguely mentioned, that I didn't feel like putting on hold and were just sitting on the shelf. Sometimes, like, one second. When I was just browsing this one, it's The Silas Takes Manhattan, which is a women's fiction, like contemporary. I don't think this is a romance title. I just really like the cover. And so because this was a sequel, I had to pick up the first book, The Stylist. And so, like, sometimes it's just I'm in the mood. Like, I know that I like contemporary reads. I like lighthearted things. And so if a title or a spine just stands out, I'll grab it. And that's just what it is. Sometimes I'm just like, it's free. So even if it doesn't particularly stand out, I might grab it just because you never know. Like, there's really no method to the madness. My thought process really is, it's free. There's no punishment for not reading it other than not experiencing the story. So might as well. But and I'm far more chaotic in the adult section because I literally know nothing that's going on over there. And so there it really is authors that I've read before or pretty books. Like, if it's not a pretty book and it's not an author I haven't read before, I pretty much don't grab the book. So in the young adult section, it is usually titles that I've heard of and are just available. And I'm like, well, why not? And then when I grab middle grade, it's usually wanting to revisit something. So I think there's something easy to grab if I move this. No, nothing that's easy to grab. But like Silverfin, which is like right here, is something I read as a kid that I wanted to revisit. The Magnus Chases are things that Rick wrote that I want to get to. I think this is Artemis Fowl, again, something that I wanted to get to. Tahara Mafi, way up there above Crest, is a book that I don't particularly know anything about, but I've heard a lot about Tahara Mafi, and I know that she wrote that after her, I think all of the Shadowmead books, like that trilogy was done, and then she wrote that one, so I feel like she had time to grow, and it has a pretty cover. That's usually my thing in middle grade. If I've never heard about it and I haven't read it in middle grade, again, it's much like adult, I'm not grabbing it because like I'm not the target demographic, and so I'm far less likely to take a risk on an unheard of middle grade book than I think some other people on BookTube. Yeah, I get the pressure, but I feel like this 20-year-old dropout with debt story so much right now, relatable. See, I thought it was relatable too. I thought that Pablo Rend is like, he was my favorite character of 2019. I read a lot of great people in 2019, but Pablo is like, he just hit a little too close to home. But a lot of people didn't really fuck with it. They didn't they didn't appreciate Pablo's story. I think what really tripped some people up is they wanted Permanent Record to be a love story, and it's not a love story. So, and I think the blurb kind of plays it up like it is one, but that's not the focus. And so I talked about this. You can see my toothbrush in a Contemporary-a-thon recommendations video, where if you go into Permanent Record expecting like the love story between the famous person and this everyday person, I think you're gonna walk out disappointed because that's not really what the story is. And so I said if you're looking for that, then I would recommend Somewhere Only We Know by Maureen Gu, which is super white. There we go. Super white in terms of like the cover. It's a K-pop book. So we have a K-pop star who falls in love with like a TMZ type reporter. And that's what this one is. So I think if people had read this one and not read Permanent Record, then they could have enjoyed Permanent Record for what it was. Or they never would have enjoyed it because it is, like you said, it's a story about the 20-year-old dropout who was drowning in debt. And that's what that one is. And it's not a love story. Yes, I have a video review of Permanent Record if you want to see some more. It's on the far shelf now. 1 second. This one, Permanent Record. It's great, and I love it, and it has the prettiest cover of 2019. So, there's still tape on this from when I sprayed the edges. Let's take that tape off. Okay, that's a little embarrassing. But yeah, I think that if you go into it knowing that it's about debt, and it's not I don't think it's really hard hitting, but it's not about the romance. Like it's just like any other book about people. I think it didn't really help that Emergency Contact was very much a romance. That book was about the love story. But yeah, this one is not about the love story, but it does have one. It does have one. I don't think this is my favorite relationship that I've ever read. I understand why people don't like the relationship, but again, it's top 3 of 2019, and the cover is the best cover ever. Like, look at this. Look at this. Just stunning. Your faves could never. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking about Permanent Record. I have talked about it way too much. I'm very nervous, though, about going into this reading year because Permanent Record really came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did, and I don't want to have an expectation that there's going to be a new release that hits as hard as that one did, but my fingers are crossed that it happens. Like, I hope that it happens. We'll see. Y'all West is in a couple of months, so maybe it'll happen at Y'all West again. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to start wrapping this up, though. Like, do like 5 more minutes. Haha. See, I'm happy that you appreciated this. See, things like this make me happy, but when people are like, I read it and I didn't love it, I do feel a little bit bad that I wasted their time. Like, I do. I don't think that's ever going to change. I think I'm just going to have to... I don't know if I'd say get used to it, but I also don't think there are that many books that I've gone as hard as I have for Permanent Record. I think that if I had, like, maybe Children of Virtue and Vengeance, I do think that I go really hard for that one. And everyone has really hated that. So that's been a really difficult thing for me to deal with. But yeah. Let's see here. What is this one? 20. I hadn't planned on making anticipated releases of 2020 because part of me really, like, when I do my library hauls, there's even a part of me that doesn't really like talking about books that I haven't read or that I'm not currently reading. Because in 2019, I did read a lot of new releases. I read like 34 new releases, which was a huge percentage of the books that I read last year. But I don't know, because I didn't always read them when they came out. So like I read Gilded Wolves last year, which came out, I want to say, in like March, but I didn't read it until like September, October, might have been even November. I don't really remember when I read it. But so I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm looking forward to all of these books. And then like Docile comes out on March 3rd, but so does Chain of Gold and House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. And two of those, House of Earth and Blood and Chain of Gold, are both like 800 pages. There's no way in March I'm reading Chain of Gold and House of Earth and Blood and Docile, which I think is, again, it's thick. And also Docile, if you've... It's being published by Tor, and they've released the first 3 chapters on Tor.com's website as like excerpts. And I was already very nervous about the premise, which is like, it's a sci-fi, I think it's like very light sci-fi, male romance with like low-key slave undertones to me personally. And there's like, it's weird. It's a very, I think it's both high concept and very niche at the same time. But I'm very much looking forward to reading Docile, but I don't want to include it on a anticipated releases video, because after reading those first 3 chapter excerpts, I was very much side-eyeing how the story was playing out. But I don't know. But again, that comes out on March 3rd. I'm kind of looking forward to that. There are other books that I have on like Goodreads shelves that are coming out this year. And I try really hard to only add things to Goodreads that I'm actually anticipating reading, but I don't know if I'm actually going to get to them. I think I mentioned 2 in my library haul video. Infinity Sun and One of Us Is Next both come out this month. I think they both come out next week. Next week on the 4th? Not next week. I guess it's week after that, the 14th. I'm not really... Again, and One of Us Is Next is like the same thing as Docile, where I'm looking forward to it, but I did not like either of Karen and McManus's first books. One of Us Is Lying and Two of Us Can Keep a Secret. I thought both of them... Two Can Keep a Secret is better written, but I think that your story revolving around a pedophile was just really unnecessary, and the plot twist made no sense because this character had nothing to do with the narrative because they were a pedophile in a book about kids. Like, what? And then One of Us Is Lying, I thought really relied on The Breakfast Club, and having watched The Breakfast Club, because all of the character voices were very much the same. So didn't like that either. Luckily, I read that when I wasn't making videos, and so I don't have to think about the video I would have made for that book, because it was a high waste of my time. So I don't think there will ever be I don't think I'm going to make that content, because I do prefer to talk about things that I'm actually reading or about to read, but who knows? That might change. And then in June, when like the back half of the year release dates are firm, I might then. I also just don't have like a firm understanding of everything that I like in a book. I think some people are very attuned to their reading tastes, and I'm very much not that person. Like I said, I pick up things by authors that I've read before, things that have pretty covers, things that other people are excited for, like, and just I'm still sussing out the things that I like in a book, and the things that I don't particularly enjoy. That's good. Looking at my Goodreads shelves stresses me out. Yeah, it stressed me out too. When I was in like the middle of 2019, I just started deleting things from my want to read shelf. Because one, I never look at my want to read shelf for anything. Like when I'm going through the library catalog, I don't go, "Oh yeah, I wanted to read that. Let me add that." So like I still think there's a fair number of books on that shelf. I think there's like 30 or something, but it I'm not gonna read those probably. Like that's a lie. I think the only firm ones that I would read, like I said, are Infinity Sun, the third book, and the Legacy of Orisha trilogy. Like there are some titles on that shelf that I probably do actually want to read. And then there are titles on there that I just added so I would remember that they exist at some point when I'm at the thing, the thing at the library. Because I'm trying in 2020, I'm trying to go back to what I was doing at the beginning of last year, where I don't buy books unless I've already read them. So currently, I have like after I finish what is it? Queen of Air and Darkness. Wow. After I finish that, I think I have 12 unread books on my shelf. One of them is The Red Scrolls of Magic. So I know I'm going to get to that one. And then the other 10 are just like books that I kind of want to unhaul, but I haven't made up my mind about yet. So we are closing. So can we... Okay, library, do your thing. I don't care. Yeah, so there are 10 things on my actual shelf that I haven't read. So Well, hello, Heather. You are here at the end. We are wrapping things up. We've been reading for like an hour together. And I guess we've been chatting for an hour too, because I've been live for almost 2 hours, which is crazy. And I am also happy that I am doing these because I will be doing one next weekend at the same time on Saturday. So noon next Saturday, we'll be back here. But again, like I was telling someone else, if you want to go back and watch the stream after, you can hear us chat and you can live it that way. So I think now it's been an hour and 55 minutes. So I think I said like 12 minutes ago, 5 more minutes. But I think ending at the 2-hour mark is just something that I would appreciate more. So I will be here if you guys have any more questions, any other little discussion topics that you want to have. Because I think, what is that? It'll be 2 o'clock. We're going to be ending this. So I guess 5 o'clock on the East Coast. And what is that? 10 in the UK? But I don't think anyone is watching in the UK right now. Like, I don't think that's a thing. Because I still need to edit tomorrow's video. I haven't done that. I was in your stream last night, Heather, obviously. And then after your stream ended, I sat down and I was trying to film a December wrap up. And so I literally woke up an hour before I was supposed to start this. And then I was like, is anyone even going to show up to this one? Like, I don't know. But I figured that it was better to do it than to not do it. So I've been awake for like 3 hours now. And for 2 of those, I've been here with you guys. So that's how my Sunday is going. Does anyone else have any post-stream plans? Because I'm just going to be... Do I have any tips for reading diverse books? Okay, so I am not the best person to ask for this. So in 2019, I think 2019 was my more diverse year. I think what really helped with that was I started BookTube. I relaunched my channel kind of. Then I got on Book Twitter, and there was, what was it? The year of Asian Reading Challenge. I think it's like Yark 2020 on Twitter, or it might just be Yark. If you do the hashtag 2020 Yark situation, you'll find their Twitter account. That helped me, so I tried to read more Asian authors all year. I don't think that I was that successful in terms of, I read a lot of popular Asian authors that way. Like I got through the To All the Boys I Loved Before trilogy by Jenny Han. I read Mary H.K. Choi. I think that was actually the real reason I picked up Emergency Contact, because I was like, if I read this, then I can count that for my Asian Author Challenge. The Gengoro Tagame I picked up because of the Asian Author Challenge. So that was a thing. I think participating in challenges. I know that Read with Cindy hosted an Asian readathon that way, and I think you could still go to that video and access their spreadsheet if you want to read more diverse Asian authors, like that aren't just East Asian but also South Asian. That was a really great resource. The Blackathon did this very similar thing in February, and I'm pretty sure that Jesse at Bowties and Books is bringing that back again next month. And they also had a really great resource of diverse African and African American authors. That spreadsheet from last year might also be in that video description that they had. So I would definitely recommend checking that one out. But also just Google. I think Blackathon and then the Year of Asian Reading Challenge were the only two times where I was specifically seeking out diverse authors. And so I was looking at those spreadsheets or Googling people. But also, if you just Google, I think there are shelves on Goodreads that people might have made that might help. And then you could do a genre that you already like and then diverse authors. I think that it's a lot easier in 2020 now to find some diverse people with a diverse viewpoint than it might have been before. But I think those are my two recommendations, like those spreadsheets and then the reading challenges. And a lot of people here on BookTube that they have suggestions about various marginalizations. I think there was an Indigathon that I didn't partake in. I think it was in the month of November. I think that's Native American Heritage Month or something. And I think there were some videos with another spreadsheet if that was something you were trying to do. I know because some other people did it. I know there was someone who was like an Australian booktube where they read like adult fiction, and they had like a whole list of like Aboriginal authors that you could look into. So I think it's a lot easier than I think a lot of people think it is. You just have to, it's literally just a Google search. This one came in before that last question, so I feel bad. But what am I watching on Netflix right now? I'm not watching anything. When The Witcher debuted, I was like, I'm going to watch The Witcher. But that was really just to lust after Henry Cavill. And then I heard that he had his clothes on the whole time. And so I was like, well, what am I going to do here realistically? So I have not really watched anything on Netflix. I was watching the CNN documentary on the 2000s, mostly because I like when they talk about the TV stuff. And then I just left that go on in the background for a while. But I'm not currently watching anything on Netflix. So if you have any recommendations, I'm here for them. Ooh, almost 5 o'clock. I'm sorry. But I hope you enjoyed dinner. I don't know what you're going to have. I had a bowl of mini wheats before I started the stream, and I had to eat them rather quickly because like I said, I'd only been up for an hour before we started, and I was like, I don't want to eat on stream. I feel like that'd be a little bit weird, so I didn't want to do that to people. But I'm really happy that you all showed up. A lot more people were here than I thought. Like I said, 3 times now, we'll be back here on Saturday. I will be scheduling that stream a little bit later today. I will tweet it out. So I will actually promote the one next week. I was very nervous that this would not go over very well because it is a lot of dead air time. Like I said, we've been live for 2 hours, but only an hour of that was me talking to people. So thanks for being here. It really does mean a lot. I'm a little shook and shaken. This is also my most successful live stream. The other ones I've done on this channel were questionable at best. So thanks for showing. Okay, you loved The Witcher. Sir, everyone wants me to watch The Witcher. The Witcher is so bad, literally I can't. Well, Jordy, I couldn't tell you. I want to watch The Witcher. Oh, the writing and the acting in it is off. See, I'm a Henry Cavill stan, though. I like his acting. People have talked about his acting being bad for a really long time. So I don't know if I'm going to think that we were... I don't know, though. I haven't watched it. But I'm also being told to watch Castlevania. I don't know. I think that's animated. I don't know. If it's an hour long, I might be able to get into it. Me and like 30-minute programs, we don't get along. I'm happy that my spreadsheet suggestion was helpful. I think those readathons also are helpful, and the challenges, like they are understanding that not everyone just automatically knows of these people. A lot of times the authors aren't as hyped. So I think that their resources are just really great. So I'm probably going. So yeah, I'm going to go now. I might watch The Witcher. I don't know. I've done my reading for the day. So I'll be back here again next Saturday at noon. We'll go for, I think the hour of reading was fine, but we'll discuss in that stream however long we wanted to go for. But yeah, I'm going to go, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your Sunday. And bye. Yes, I want to end the broadcast.